Hey y'all, it's August the 21st, 2015. I haven't made any videos uh, probably for a few days now. Really not sure. This happens to me sometimes when I either A, can't find the internet, or B, I'm drowning in news and I can't distinguish what it is I should talk about, and I freeze up. And that's the reason why, if you are following me closely, uh, there will be small periods in which I do not make a video. That is the case this time. Basically drowning in it. I have something of a obsessive compulsive nature when it comes to the news. It's my belief that everybody has an obsessive compulsive nature when it comes to something or other. Mine is the news. Right? And I really can't get into everything right now because if I do, I will sound like a crazy person. One of the biggest things that I could bring up, and it continues to be the biggest thing, is the chopping up of babies and selling their parts, or chopping out their brains and putting it in mice. I know that sounds crazy. I wish I was making that up. All right, but I digress. The reason why I'm making this video right now is recently it has been said of me. Hold up, flag. Sorry about that. It's been said of me that I get my ideas from Alex Jones. Now, if you don't know who that is, you're really far behind. Pretty much everybody else knows who that is. But it was said of me that this is what I do. Now I gotta just go ahead and very briefly say that this is absurd. And I can prove it in this regard. If you go back in the history of any of my videos or familiar with any of them, you'll hear myself refer to myself as a Christian. And sometimes I'll talk about how most people are not Christians. In fact, most people who refer to themselves as Christians are not. They're simply lying to themselves or lying to everybody else. And this is a sad thing, it breaks my heart. All right? But this, from what I've seen, is the truth. All right? And also, I would like to state that, in my very humble opinion, many people's opinions, so when you're born onto this earth, you are born a slave. And when you die from this earth, you will indeed die as a slave. Now, a lot of people don't want to believe this, especially people in America. They want to say, no, I'm not a slave. I got free will. I can do as I want. Yes, you can do as you want. But I believe that Bob Dylan put it the best when he said that you inevitably, although you could do what you want, you're going to serve something. You're going to serve someone regardless. Now, you can run from it all day. You can run from it your whole life. You can't run for forever. As Johnny Cash put it, you can run on for a long time. You can run on for a long time. You can run on for a long time. Sooner or later, God's going to cut you down. All right? Hopefully, He won't cut you down. Anyways, like I was saying, I'm a Christian. I am indeed a slave. I will admit that to you. I'll freely admit that to you. I am a slave to Jesus Christ. That is all. I don't follow a man or a woman at all. Uh, I do happen to be obsessively compulsive about the news, and when you become this way, you realize that there's certain sources that you like better than other sources. There's certain sources that you like the best out of all the sources. And you stick with those because you don't have all the time in the world. You don't have enough time in your lifetime to listen to every source. You just can't do it. So what you had to do is narrow it down. That's what I do. That being said, it all comes back to Jesus Christ. You hear me refer to myself as a Christian. You'll never ever hear me refer to myself as a Jonesian. I think that's retarded. It's really dumb. Uh, but also, I would like to say that Alex Jones is a pretty great individual, and he's proven himself over 20 some odd years to have dedication, and that I appreciate. And he's very good at bringing the news. But just to go ahead and prove that I'm not some sort of Alex Jones cult member, I would like to just fire off some names of the people who I find the best. The people who I follow a lot, a whole lot, and enjoy very much. And I like to refer to them as my internet family. The reason being is because I'm not downplaying the fact that I actually do have a family. And that I have some sort of just only I have a fantasy internet family and that's it. No, I have a real family. But no one in my real family, my biological family, has ever been accused of thinking too much, nor would I accuse them of thinking too much. That's not to say that they don't think about stuff. They do. I would never, ever, ever accuse any of them, not a single one of them, of thinking too much. However, all the people that I'm about to name right now have been probably accused of thinking too much uh, all the goddamn time, all right? Just over and over and over and over. And this is what we have in common. This is what we share. This is why I follow them. Just start listing them off. James David Manning, who I consider my pastor, a leader in Christ. This guy's kind of, he says some things that are outrageous. Sometimes he says some things to me that I wish that he wouldn't say. But nobody's perfect. Everybody who I'm going to name in this list is not perfect. Everybody who I'm going to name in this list is not Jesus Christ. Let me just reiterate that. The other day, he was talking about cutting people's throats, James David Manning was. And I had to say, God dang it, James David Manning, oh my gosh. Need to settle down. But I'm not just going to throw him under the bus just for that. Because I understood what he was talking about, and I really don't think that he's going to cut anybody's throats. I want to check him out. There's also Evangelist Anita Fuentes, who I admire very much. I try to catch her every single night. She's another one of those crazies who not only thinks that the tribulation is coming, which is what every single Christian obviously believes, but that is here. It's here right now. We're in the end days. She's a crazy, crazy person, but I happen to follow her and respect her because not only does she speak about the end times, but she relates it to all sorts of news articles, all sorts of them on an almost daily basis. I want to check her out. Plus, she's pretty awesome. Of course, there's Alex Jones. And not only Alex Jones, but he has a whole crew of people who I consider very intelligent and free thinkers and individuals themselves. And I admire them very much too. And I got to say, there's a lot of people on this list who I listen to as well, who I'm not going to name on the list, who I listen to, and who I take ideas from. And I think about them and I roll them around in my head. And I'm sorry if I don't mention them. There's Mario, the Vigilant Christian. And by the way, I'm going to leave links to every single one of these people so you can check them out. Mario, the Vigilant Christian, who talks a lot about a lot of different things, especially, how certain music can be used by the devil. And I agree with that. I'm actually going to make a video about it. I don't think the devil makes anything because he's not a creator. He can't create anything, but he certainly does use things. So we got E.T. Williams, flies off the handle a lot. but makes a lot of good sense. And is a very vigorous fighter for the rights of children to be brought up correctly and all sorts of stuff. Common sense. He fights viciously for common sense, and I like it. I like it a lot. We got Kent Hovind, who was just released from prison after about 9 years, and this dude will talk about the end times and chronicleize the sequence in which that he's figured out on his own how he believes that it's going to go down, and he also continues to do research and figure out to see if he was wrong or right, or I mean, you know what I'm saying? He's very OCD about figuring out what is going on as far as the end times goes, as far as creation goes, the whole shebang. He's someone to check out. Ben Fuchs is another individual, and he goes into great detail about health, about human health and how the body works, and how we're all being lied to for the most part. Why? Because of money, among other things. He's my go-to guy for health, although I listen to other people for health. There's Dr. McCullough, there's Dr. Wallach, there's all sorts of people. But Ben Fuchs is my go-to guy. Bill Bunting, all right? He's not your typical Christian, but this fool goes hard. He goes very hard. I love you, Bill Bunting. I love you. I love everyone on this list, but I want to just say specifically, I love you, Bill Bunting. Because he tells me all the time that he loves me, and he never met me. And I appreciate that. He doesn't think I'm crazy. Then there's Alex Ansary, or Ansary. This fool is probably, out of everybody on my list, he's the most craziest. He seems like he is crazy, but I do understand him. I do understand how such intelligence can be disregarded in such a way, and I appreciate that although not everything that he says is critical, I appreciate that he's documenting it all, because some things that he says are very critical. And he does agree that Joe Biden is probably a pervert. He's probably a child diddler. And we agree on all sorts of things. There's lots of stuff we don't agree on. But I appreciate him. He's my man. And last but not least on the list, of course, there's many, many more, but I got to include RedSilverJ, because he breaks it down. And he breaks it down very simply. And he breaks down very complicated, complex situations in a very simple manner. That's makes it easy for anybody to understand. For example, all these shootings that are going on that are causing people hysteria, that are having people think, well, maybe we don't deserve to have guns. No, he calls that out real quick, real easy, sometimes in a humorous way. And I really appreciate that. He's very easy to understand, and he really breaks down issues that are very much pressing here in America. All right, so any one of these people are worth listening to. I would never follow any one of these individuals completely, because none of us are perfect, especially myself. There's only one who is worth following, but I believe that if you listen to any one of these people who I just mentioned, any one of these people, eventually who they're going to lead you to is that guy right there, Jesus Christ. All right. So check them out. That's my internet family. All right. Uh, it's August 21st, 2015.